Hi guys, Clint Anderson here. Well, on this month's digital download, we're going to be out here showing you how to train your horse in the desert. We're out here in Arizona, and this is a filming shoot that I've wanted to do for years. I wanted to take you back to how I trained horses in Australia. When I was broke, I had a round pen and a dirt road. I'm going to show you how to train a horse with the method with very limited resources. I always hear that excuse, Clinton, I don't have any money, I don't have an arena, I don't have a pasture, I don't have any place to ride. Well, you know what? You don't need a place to ride. What you need is dedication and commitment, and follow the method and you're going to get extraordinary results. I can't wait to show you what we're about to do. I'm Clinton Anderson, and I have a method for training horses. Getting horses to behave is simple. It's training people that's the real trick. Join me as I tackle some of the most challenging situations with problem horses and with problem owners. Okay guys, we're out here for our Arizona adventure. Well, Zorro, this is going to be his 8th ride today, but it's going to be his first ride outside the arena. So the first 7 rides we did in Stephenville, Texas. The first 3 rides, well, 2.5 rides were in the round pen, okay? You know, we always have a helper in the round pen, moving the colt around, forwards, backwards, left and right. The 3rd ride, we started in the round pen, and then from the 4th ride on, we're out in my outdoor arena and loping around, okay? Just getting his feet to move, walking on 1-rein stops, yield to a stop, cruising, etc., okay? So, before I get on him, I better make sure he's using the thing inside of his brain. Now, Zorro's a relatively level-minded colt. He's a good-minded colt, level-minded, etc. But I don't trust him enough. First time away from home, being outside, the last thing I'm going to do is get on him and get my ass bucked off, okay? So we've got to make sure he's using the thinking side of his brain. So I've got him in a hackamore here. First, usually about the first, anywhere from the first 10 to 14 rides, I put in a hackamore, and then I move them over to a snaffle bit after that. You don't have to, I just prefer to do it. So with these hackamores of mine, the reins are long enough that I can do a little bit of lunging for respect, 1 and 2, step in front, move him over here. I just want to move those feet around, make sure he's not tight with the saddle or wanting to buck my ass off, okay? Remember, every time you change environments, you change horses, typically for the worst. Horses typically get spookier, jumpier, and more reactive when you change locations. Step in front. Okay. There we go. And again, he's probably going to be a little worse for his first ride outside with everything he knows. Very rarely do horses get better when you take them away from home, at least the first few times, okay? They got to learn to listen to you away from home as much as they do at home. Okay, that's pretty good here. So this is this colt's first ride outside. Of course, I'm not just going to get on him and hope for the best and get your ass bucked off, okay? Remember, whenever you change environments, your horses act worse. They get spookier, they get jumpier, they're lookier. You know, they're a little reactive, okay? So I just did a little lunging for respect stage, 2 with the horse, moving him around, forwards, backwards, left and right, and just get him using the thinking side of his brain, so that way when I go to get on him, he's calm, relaxed, and listening to me. You'd be a fool to just get on this colt and go hope for the best. Now let's go and do a little stirrup driving. This is my favorite exercise. This is my favorite exercise for colts, stirrup driving. It's on the colt starting kit. Okay, if you're a premium member, you'll be able to see the colt starting kit. I love to flap this stirrup here. A lot of people get bucked off colts because colts are spooky and jumpy with this stirrup flapping up and down. Now I'm going to yield his hindquarters. Disengage his hindquarters with my stirrup. This represents my leg. Change hands. bring his front end through. Stirrup driving is a very, very important exercise when starting colts. This will save your ass from getting bucked off. I want to be flapping this stirrup to where this just doesn't bother him. He couldn't care less about him. Now, the reason why we disengage the hindquarters on the ground with the stirrup, because the stirrup represents our foot, okay, and gets him used to our foot back there. Watch, I'm going to press him with the stirrup. My stirrup's just lightly pressing on his flank here, and he's pivoting on his front end. Drop it, bring his front end through. Other things that I'll do is I'll slap the saddle here. Remember, try to get your ass bucked off on the ground. Try to get bucked off on the ground, which means try to spook them, try to provoke them to do something silly on the ground, because if they do something silly, you're a hell of a lot safer on the ground than when you get on them. Disengage his hindquarters. I love that. See how he's pivoting on his left front foot? Change hands, bring his front end through. So stirrup driving, big exercise. Like right then when I went to reach for that stirrup, he kind of jumped, so I'll practice that. Whatever it is that your horse doesn't like, let's say I raise my hand up like that, and he doesn't like it, keep that same motion going. A lot of people will do, say this, raise their hand up, the horse spooks, and then they'll change the motion to moving their hand like this. Whatever it is that set the horse off, keep repeating that same exact motion until he ignores you. So I just started slapping the saddle, and he got a little scared just then and started jogging. So I want to keep slapping the saddle until I feel like he's bored with it and he's ignoring it. There, that's better. Now I'm going to retreat and do that again. Always go back and double check whatever it is they spooked at. How many times will I double check it? I'll usually check it 3 times in a row until I get the right answer 3 times in a row. Righto, disengage his rear end. Love that. Look at the bend, lateral flexion he's got. So today's going to be his 8th ride. Now if he doesn't move, I can tap him with the stirrup, bring his front end through. Good boy. Not bad at all. Good boy. One of my favorite exercises to do with colts, all ages of horses really, but especially 2-year-olds in the first 2 or 3 weeks of training, is stirrup driving. So many people get bucked off young horses because the horses overreact to the person's legs. The legs flapping, or the legs moving, or touching the horse in the flank, or touching him in the belly. You know, stirrup driving not only desensitizes your horse to the saddle, the fender slapping up and down, the stirrup touching him, but it also gets the horse to follow his nose. You're actually doing circles. By using that hackamore, we're getting the horse to go left, go right, etc. I'm yielding his hindquarters. That is a #1 exercise. If you're starting colts, get really good at the stirrup driving exercise. It'll keep you safe and stop you getting bucked off. It'll teach the colt how to circle left and right, and it'll get him to disengage his hindquarters on the ground so that when you go to disengage it under saddle, he knows what you want him to do. Anytime you can teach your horse to do something on the ground and then you do it under saddle, he picks up on it so much quicker. Help him on the ground so he doesn't struggle under saddle. So, I'm going to yield his forequarters, make sure he'll move this out of my road. I'm just doing a little safety check here. Are you willing to move your body away from me? Little pushy right here. There we go. There we go. Rub it away. Righto, before I get on, let's move him over here. I'm going to double check my girth. I'm going to do this girth up tighter. I'm going to do it up pretty snug now. As a good rule of thumb, I do my girth up 3 times. When I first put the saddle on, just put the girth on kind of snug. Do a little groundwork, tighten it up, do a little groundwork, tighten it up for a 3rd time and make it not real tight at that. When I say real tight, pretty damn firm, okay? A lot of people teach their horses to buck with a saddle because they put a saddle on a colt, They yank the girth up as tight as they can, and then they wonder why the horse wants to buck and flip over backwards tied up and the cross ties and all this crazy shit that they do. Ease them into it. That'd be like you getting out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody gets behind you and just gives you a big old wedgie. 6 o'clock in the morning, that's gonna wake your ass up, okay? It's gonna make you nervous about getting out of bed if your wife gives you a wedgie, okay? So just ease them into the girth over 2 or 3, pull-ups, and you'll be fine like that, okay? So I like that. His head's down, he's using the thinking side of his brain. I love this colt. What a nice colt. He's gonna be a cow horse for me, a futurity horse for 2020. Okay, there we go. Good boy.
Connect, share, get motivated, and stay informed. Follow us on Facebook and take us along for the ride that leads to better horsemanship.
I like pretty long reins on my hackamores, okay? The reason I like long reins, if I'm riding a big old warm blood or a tall horse, I want to have enough spanker left over to be able to spank him and it's not too short. But on a shorter colt like him, I'm going to have to tie a couple of knots in the end of my rein because otherwise my reins will be too long and he will step on the end of them, okay? So I just tie a couple of knots and that just shortens them up. I don't tie them so tight that I can't get them undone easily if I need to. Okay, and I'll just tie a couple of knots in the end of each rein. Depending on how short the horse is, will depend on how many knots you need to tie. I try to tie the knots close to the end of the rein because it just gives you a lot more leverage there, okay? So for the first, say, 10 to 14 rides, I like to ride my horse in what I would call a little rope hackamore or bosal, okay? You do not have to start a colt in a hackamore. I've started hundreds of colts straight in a snaffle bit. But if I have a chance, I prefer to do it in a hackamore for several reasons. The first one is this. Number one, if I can get a colt giving left and right and softening to a hackamore, before I put the bit in his mouth, when I do put the bit in his mouth, he has an idea how to flex and bend and soften. It's not a new concept to him. Number two, the hackamore is much more forgiving than a bit. So if you're a green rider or not very experienced and you lose your balance and jerk back on his mouth and it hurts his mouth, he might rear up in the air, he might flip over, okay? You don't want to hurt the horse's mouth with the bit. You don't want him to lose confidence with the bit in his mouth straight off the bat. So if you happen to lose your balance and jerk his mouth or pull too hard or fall off and grab his mouth, the hackamore is much more forgiving. He's not going to overreact to that anywhere near as much. Typically, I like to leave it on somewhere between 10 and 14 rides. I'll switch him over to a snaffle. Do you have to? The answer is no. Why do I? Because roughly around 14 days, that's when I'm going to start, 14 rides, that's when I'm going to start working on vertical flexion. That's when I'm going to start working on collecting the horse. That's when I'm going to start working on shoulder in, shoulder out, two-tracking. So for you to get a horse really soft and supple and collected through his body parts, it doesn't work very well in a hackamore. Can you get it done? The answer is yes, but you're going to fight a lot more, you're going to struggle a lot more. Okay, so a carpenter has lots of tools for different stages of building a house. You don't build the house with the same damn tool from the first nail to the last nail. There's several tools you use. The little rope hackamore that we sell is a tool that I think is very handy in the beginning. But if you keep riding with it too long, especially, again, listen, if you're just going to go trail ride, little left, little right, walk, trot, canter, shit, knock yourself out. Riding a hackamore for 15 million years. Riding a bitless bridle, all the shit the tree huggers go on with, I don't care. But if you're going to start getting into real horsemanship where you're getting them to bridle up and soften and collect and move their 5 body parts, a hackamore is not going to get the job done. Not very successful. How about we say that? Don't make your life any harder than what it needs to be. Before I get on here, it's important to make sure that your hackamore is adjusted correctly. A lot of people want to get these hackamores way up on the horse's nose like that, up under their eye. I want it down to where the bony part just starts to join the soft part of his nose. Typically you want it at a 45 degree angle here, like this, laying down like that. So the bottom of it can hinge back and forth like this. See how it's nice and loose? It's not way up. A lot of people want to jack them up way up there on the horse's face, and that's terrible. Have them down low enough to where they're a little bit loose here, and you got some left and right here, okay? Right, I'm gonna get on him. Girth's nice and tight, okay? I'm gonna bend his head around here, put my foot in the stirrup, got his head bent, and get on. Now, even though, you know, we've done our homework, I'm still gonna be cautious that I don't get bucked off on him, okay? Don't set him up for failure. So as soon as I get on, I'm gonna immediately go, just let me get his balance there, there we go. I'm immediately gonna go to his lateral flexion. Just start flexing his head left and right. Again, I typically keep him in these hackamores for somewhere between 10 and 14 rides. The reason I like to go to a snaffle bit is I feel like I get a lot more softness and collection from a snaffle bit as opposed to a hackamore, but I certainly like to start them in a hackamore to get the initial concept of giving and bending, flexing. A lot of the time with these hackamores, you're going to be leading their nose out the side. So when you bring them around, you kind of go out, then back to your hip. Where at the snaffle, you'll just kind of come straight back to your hip. So go out and then back, okay? Out and then back. So before I go anywhere, I just want to make sure that I can bend him at a standstill here. Okay, he's doing pretty good here. So remember, when you're getting on a colt for the first 14 rides, I never get on them with their head straight. You don't know if they might jump when you're going to get on them, they might buck. Obviously, if you've done your groundwork and you've done a good job, the chances of that are very, very small. But here's the deal. Until my colt really proves to me he's absolutely bomb-proof, I always assume they're gonna buck my ass off. If you just assume that they'll be dangerous, you'll never get hurt. People always get hurt on the horses that, he won't buck, he won't spook, he hasn't been ridden in 4 months, he'll be fine. Sure as shit, they end up in the hospital. So I always bend their head around as I'm getting on, so that because when you're getting on, you're in a vulnerable position. Your legs over the back of the saddle, you don't have your balance. If that colt went to buck or take off right then, it'd be very easy for him to get you off. But if I've already got his head bent around, I can step back down on the ground and bend him around, or I can quickly put my leg over the other side and get control of the situation. Remember, bend is your friend. The more you bend a horse, the safer you are in a dangerous situation. Righto, I'm not just going to ride him straight off. I got my hand on my horn, okay, a little bit of insurance policy. I'm just going to get him to go forward. I'm not riding him with spurs at this point. Just kind of get him to follow his nose a little bit. Okay, I'm letting him go in a circle. So let's say he started jumping away from me or went into buck or do something silly. Because I got his head bent, it wouldn't be hard for me to do this here and shut him down with one rein. Okay? So at this age, they're a little bit sticky moving forward. Meaning that they, you know, that's the biggest thing is you're trying to put a gas pedal on them. Okay? Get them to go forward here. Forward and around. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take these knots out of these reins actually. Now that I'm on him and I'm feeling him, I'm going to go take these off because I don't think he's going to step on them here. Notice as I'm doing this, I'm keeping what? His head bent. Okay. Let's go back to moving his feet around again. So again, I'm just doing some lateral circles here. He's green, so he doesn't know how to steer very well. That's what I've got to teach him, how to move his feet and steer. Good boy. Left and right. And I'm going to stay like this until I feel comfortable. But I could go ahead and trot him off and get going somewhere. Might even trot him in a little circle here. I'm not frightened to keep my hand on that horn. For about the first 10, 12 rides, you'll see me a lot having my hand on the horn. You never know, something jumps out from underneath the bush, something scares a colt, the back cinch touches him. You know what I mean? You never know. Every once in a while, you'll have a colt that'll jump left or jump right, and if you're not prepared, you're going to end up over his ears. So no shame in keeping a hand on that horn for the first 10 rides, just as a little insurance policy. Once they prove to me that they're real safe, then I'm not going to use it as much. Love that. So I feel pretty good about that now. So what I'm going to do now is do the most exciting part now, is head off down this big wash. Got a big wash we're going to ride him on, and it's going to free up his feet. And I want to show you how to train a horse in the middle of nowhere, like the outback. This reminds me of my roots in Australia, training problem horses and starting colts, is what we're going to show you here today. So guys, I'm going to head off. We'll see you at the next location.
Want more? Get more. The No Worries Club is the best way to get the most out of your training experience. Stick around to find out more.
Hey mate, Clint Anderson here. For the past 20 years, I've devoted my life to creating the best training tools and videos available to help bring my method to you. But there's only one problem. You can't bring your TV into the arena. That's why we've been hard at work developing a new platform to deliver the method to you in a whole new way. A way that brings 20 years of horsemanship and puts it in the palm of your hand. Introducing the mobile method. It's part of the new Down Under digital experience, and it makes learning the method easier than ever before. Let me show you how it works, mate.
Now you can always have access to the method, even when you're on the go or at the barn. The Down Under Horsemanship app gives you access to your digital training kits and allows you to download videos and training content directly to your mobile device or view them on your computer. The Down Under Horsemanship app also offers over 86 hours of free, in-depth training content. No Worries Club members will have full access to Clinton's ever-growing training library and a massive amount of members-only features and information. And the best part is, you can view and interact with each lesson on your mobile device or computer, giving you ultimate access to the method anytime and any place.
The method is the key to getting the most out of your partnership with your horse. We want everybody to experience the difference it will make. That's why we created 3 new ways for you to get the training content you need at the price you want. Our basic level allows you to purchase and download training content to your device at our standard price with no annual fee. When you become a No Worries Club member for $19.99 a month, you get up to 50% discount on any of your purchases. Plus, you get 8 digital videos and 4 digital journals a year, and access to the No Worries Club website, the largest collection of method material and resources in the world. Plus, you can become part of our social network and chat with thousands of other folks just like you. If you want the ultimate experience, mate, the premium membership is for you. You get all the benefits of the No Worries Club, a printed copy of our No Worries Club quarterly journal, and access to all of the method and the professional series kit training videos. Altogether, that's thousands of dollars of horse training and 20 years of horsemanship delivered right to your fingertips. So there you have it, folks. The new mobile method app is the easiest and most effective way to deliver the maximum amount of knowledge at a minimal amount of time. And with the new No Worries Club, you can be assured you're going to get exactly what you need at a price that's right for you. It's a free download, so what are you waiting for, mate? Get started today.
Start your digital training experience today. Visit our website and download the Down Under Horsemanship app to experience the method in a whole new way.